if we set the stage on healthcare, we set the stage on especially healthcare within the United States, there's a sad reality. That's what we call the standard American diet. And currently, the United States, we're the most obese nation in the world. Number one. That's not a prize we're looking to win. Maybe a gold medal in the Olympics. Maybe that's something we want to win. We do not want to win the number one in obesity. 63% of Americans currently are overweight. So 6 out of 10 in this room currently, or 6 out of 10 friends and family. It's now an epidemic. It leads to hypertension, cardiovascular disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes. So here's the good news. All these things, a lot of them we're lifestyling our way into it. So if we lifestyle our way into it, what can we do? We can lifestyle our way. All right, I'm going to get you guys going. We're going to go straight to exercise next time. All right? So, who wants to save money today? Raise your hands. We can save some money, right? All right, we all want to save some money, right? If this was a financial seminar, I wouldn't change a word. Because the number one reason why we lose our money is our health. Losing our health, that's the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States. So we get sick, unfortunately, we go to the hospital, insurance coverage is limited, and if you've ever been to the hospital lately, are bills cheap? They're not, extremely expensive. You have a medication that your insurance doesn't cover. Bad news. You go to the hospital and they cover, even if you have good insurance, insurance covers 70%, you have a 30% change, you got that heart surgery, chemo, radiation. $200,000, take 30% of that. So once you lose your health, that's your greatest asset. You could ask Donald Trump, if he had all the money, and he got a ton of it, you lose your health, that's your greatest possession. You can be the richest man in the world, but in my eyes, if you don't have health, you're poor. So what we're looking for here is setting the stage. So this goes into percentage among adults. So Mexico is below us. So if you look at the Japanese, they're in first place at 3.5%. So a lot of things they change is they're nutritionally, they're much more better balanced than we are. We process food ourselves to death, we fast food ourselves to death, and that becomes a major issue and a sticking point. So we're going to talk about today the 30-day challenge. And that's one of the biggest parts from today. So the takeaway, in your packets, you have this green booklet. And I'm going to be going back and forth to this. So this booklet is going to be your 30-day challenge. You will get the invite to start on this 30-day challenge with us. We'll start that. It will start on Monday. But this is going to be your booklet. It's be your game plan over the next 30 days. You'll be going back and forth to this. So based off of what I was just talking about, and I know I have a couple of nurses in the audience, I have a couple of actually PhDs and MDs in the audience. Now, what do we know about health? Who spends the most money on health care? What country? Which is big time. It's not even close. So based off of money pouring out, based off of that info, we should have the best healthcare model in the world. But unfortunately, what's our healthcare system? We get sick, we wait for a sign or symptom to pop up, not really focus on prevention. We wait for the symptom to pop up, we go where? To our doctor, right? And this isn't going to be a medical bashing. I have 4 medical doctors in my family, so I'll just lay that on the table. If you break your arm, you're not coming to my office to get adjusted. Now, I'll put a little something into it, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to help it. We have the best trauma surgery in the world. Let's not be silly. We have the best trauma care, major accidents. It's second to none. You can't even touch it. Prevention and wellness, we stink. We stink. And that's where the difference lies. And so we go to the doctor for a prescription, yes? Then after that, a couple months later, 2-3 months later, still having signs or symptoms, what do we do then? What would we do?
Go back to the doctor.
Well, right. Go back to the doctor. So we go back to the doctor, and then they're either going to do one or two things. They're going to give you another script, or they might send you to a specialist, or they might have a test on it. Does anybody disagree with that model? It's the healthcare model of the United States. It is what it is. But if that system was working, They did a study on the 30 most industrialized countries. We spent the most. Guess where we finished? Dead last. We were 30 out of 30. Your child has a better chance of making it to its first birthday in the Dominican Republic than it does here. Okay? They call that infant mortality rate. So we finished dead last in categories we don't want to finish dead last in. So what we're trying to do, and what we have done successfully with all our clinics across the country, is that we're counterculture. We do not want to be that culture because we know that it's not working. So we focus on prevention and wellness. And if we look into smoking, what they actually found out, obesity, you're having more doctor's visits than you are from smoking. And we know that smoking over the years it's been decreasing over the years. The word is out, pretty much everyone knows that if you smoke, you can pretty much cash your check. At some point, you're going to pay the piper with cancer. It's just the stats. Now, if we flip the script here, so from bad, so some slick marketing, right? We've got Santa on there smoking. What's Santa smoking? We've got Fred Flintstone down below smoking some Winstons, I believe. But it was good marketing. They know what they're doing. If they didn't know what they were doing, they would be out of business. But we want the word, so we weren't marketing cigarettes as much anymore. Now we want the food. Toucan Sam is the man because you get people to eat their product. It's filled with sugar, or it's giving them cancer. Pepsi, Coke. If you watched the Super Bowl a couple weeks ago, all you see is these food commercials. They have the money for the budget for these commercials. And we like to think that we don't follow suit to those advertising. We do. These companies kind of cash, but they're making it off of the death of our citizens. It's not okay. As a doctor, I see patients, suffering day in and day out. It gets me to my core because there are options, but a lot of times we just get frustrated, we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then we just give up. And unfortunately, then we become one of the statistics that we were talking about earlier. And we know one of the things with weight loss that we touch on, how many of us have been on a diet? The rest of the audience is lying. Right? So, the diets work for a limited time. Weight Watchers would have been out a long time ago if people weren't getting results, but they're not sustained. One of the things the point system, we talk about calorie counting. So you can take in 1,200 calories. Well, if you take in 1,200 calories of Twinkies, or you can take in 1,200 good calories, the difference is it's not the calorie you're taking in, it's the quality of the calories you're taking in. If you're taking in bad calories, even though you're on a low-calorie diet, you might get results, but guess what? 1 in 3 females at some point are being diagnosed with cancer, 1 in 2 males. That's basic, those are current statistics. You will become a statistic because what we're taking is we're killing ourselves with the food that we're eating. So it's not so much calories, we're going to talk about what to eat, what not to eat, and what to stay away from. And the first thing we're going to touch on, so it's hormones. And our hormones, over the age of 30, they decrease by 30%. So over time, what's been happening is, we get older. If you figure out a way how not to do it, you let me know. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work. So over the age of 30, your hormones decrease by 30%. Now what happens? We have that same piece of pizza, but now we notice that it's sticking to us. It's like, wait a second, I was able to fit into those genes, nothing's changed. Same diet, same nutrition, what's happening? Well, your hormones are dropping down. Over the age of 50, they drop down by 50%. Over the age of 50, so think about that. Half the hormones you had in your 20s are gone. Now, we add to that the nutrition plan that we follow, most of us follow, it's a recipe for disaster. So weight loss is actually about hormones, such as insulin, leptin, and another one called ghrelin here, which we're going to talk about. So I'm not going to beat you up on biochemistry, but I will want you to have somewhat of an understanding of what happens. Now with insulin, we go and we have a sandwich over lunch. Carbohydrates, bread, equals sugar, yes? Yes. Yes or yes. So we take in that sandwich, body digests it, turns it into sugar. Now that's what's in insulin. You're now burning it because your brain is telling your body to kill that insulin off, or your sugar levels go too high, and that becomes a major issue. Now once that happens, if you continuously carb load yourself to death, so you have a sandwich at lunch, you have a ton of carbs at dinner, you're drinking a bunch of sodas, you're having cookies and cakes, you're carving yourself to death. Now what's happening is your brain's telling your body, insulin, 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 and now you become insulin resistant. So now, instead of when you taking that carbohydrate, now your insulin levels don't go back down. So what happens? Your blood sugar elevates. High blood sugar turns into type 2 diabetes, A plus for Luann.
Yes.
Type 2 diabetes. 100% from lifestyle. 100% from lifestyle. Now, if you look at ghrelin, which is the hormone, the last one there, what ghrelin does, all right, ghrelin in turn, that's your hormone hunger, that's your hunger hormone. That's what's telling your body that we're full. Except guess what? Ghrelin doesn't work. When insulin's thrown off, now we just think we're hungry all the time, so we need to eat. We need to eat, and that's what happens with ghrelin. Okay, so that's that other herb. Now the second one is leptin. Second one is leptin, so that's your fat management. So consistently when your insulin comes up, your leptin comes up, now we're getting sick. So we have those three hormones we need to manage. These three hormones get managed 110% through our Maximize Living Advanced plan. So our other hormones, testosterone, that's the Barry Bonds diet, right? Take as much testosterone as you can and see what happens. So testosterone, say